Hello, hello. What's good, everyone? I know it's been a while since I have done a stream. It hasn't been that long. I think it's been like what, a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I know you guys saw. So I'm still gonna do that stream. This one is just kind of impromptu because I wanted to do a stream. I wanted to do something since I haven't done one in a while, but just wasn't feeling up to doing like a whole, like 3 hour show covering everything. So I'm gonna save that for Monday. But just gonna give my thoughts, kick the shits with y'all a little bit. Just talk about random stuff, honestly. Uh yo, Josh, it was good, bro. If you want, bro, Josh, if you want to hop on, you can hop on, bro. This is gonna be a little chill stream, so uh just text me if you want to hop on with me. But and that's honestly to anybody else. I think you know what, I'm gonna post the link down below. I'm gonna post the link down in the chats. So hop on if you want to. Just don't just don't be on no goofy shit when you hop on, whoever hops on. But yeah, man. So I honestly just been chilling, bro. I've been taking it easy. I've been reading a lot. Not gonna lie, doing some gaming too. Just taking it easy. I had, just on my a lot of stress on my mental. So I didn't really feel like I've been paying attention to politics, but getting on here talking about it in a formulate, in like a formulated getting thoughts together and everything like that. Just wasn't in like feeling it, you feel me? And then work has been kind of stressful and other life things. It's been kind of stressing me out too. So, but honestly, I just been on Twitter recently and seeing the whole fallout with the Rage Against the War Machine situation going on, and just everybody at each other's necks, man. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And it's like there's certain aspects that people are saying that I agree with. There's other aspects that I definitely don't agree with, but uh I just think it's a situation where, and I guess I'm about to go into it just talking about it. Um, the whole concept of like this. So it's crazy. I got a new screen in front of me so I can see things bigger now. So it's kind of weird looking at myself. But uh the whole Rage Against the War Machine thing. I'm of two minds of this. And unfortunately, I was supposed to go. I was not able to go. Was having issues with my truck getting down there. So yeah, I wasn't able to go. I wanted to go, just wasn't able to go. And just I've been of two minds of shit. So it's like on one hand, I definitely understand what the people promoting the rally and people who wanted to be in favor of it was saying. Like, we need to put our differences aside. We need to come together. This is nuclear war. We need to come together on this. And that's a message that I agree with. And that's a message that on paper, most people would fucking agree with. Um, and that's a message I agree with. But however, I will say, this is shit black people have been hearing forever, bro. And like black people, have always come and joined it. Yeah, I swear Twitter is unfollowing me from people, bro. This shit is weird. It's starting to get weird now. But that's a message and a sentiment that I can definitely get on board with and that I can agree with. But at the same time, like I said, this is shit like black people been hearing this shit forever, bro. We gotta like whether it's coming together on anti-war stuff, whether it's the Rainbow Coalition and all this other stuff, bro. It's like we've heard this shit all before, and that's where I fuck with what a lot of like Black Power Media is saying, even some of what the Black Agenda Report was saying as well about the rally and everything. But that wasn't going to discount me from going. The only thing that stopped me from going was my truck not being able to get down there. And it was a kind of almost a last minute thing. So not being able to arrange transportation for me to get down there and back. So and then back in time for work as well. So that was what stopped me from going. I was still gonna go, but I was, the people that everybody was pointing out, those were the people I was gonna be trying to talk to. And talk to them about the things we agree with, but definitely talk to the things with them that I disagree with them on. Even somebody like Jackson Hinkle, that I think is a clown at this point. And this is coming from somebody I used to watch his show a lot. I used to not necessarily a fan, but I used to be like that, followed his work until I realized his work is basically clout chasing. But even somebody like that, you have conversations with them on shit that you agree with, but then you have conversations with them about shit that you definitely don't agree with them on. Even somebody like Tulsi and things like that. And I did find it kind of weird. I'm gonna keep it a bean. It's gonna be a little bit of a spicy take. I don't give a fuck. I didn't see anybody confronting Tulsi about her support of AFRICOM. I didn't see nobody confronting her for her support of drone strikes. You didn't see like the whole AOC thing running up and that, her face with a phone and shit yelling at her. So I'm not saying that's not what I would have done personally, because I think that, and that's not a knock to Jose or anybody doing that. I think that what they're doing is great and they need to fucking keep doing that shit. But I'm saying, I, we need to be holding everybody accountable to what they're saying, to their words. And that was another aspect of it too, as well, that I was noticing, is that like you didn't necessarily have people there that are anti-war. Like, I think I said this on Twitter, you know, I'm anti-war to the point like where if you're going to force me in a position to defend myself, and if I'm a leader of a country to defend the sovereignty of my country, then like sometimes people don't realize sometimes war is inevitable. So I feel like you had people that is of that mindset that was there. All right, I'm back. That was weird for a minute. I cut out for a minute. But yeah, but then you have people there that, are pro drone strike, that type of war, or economic warfare and everything like that. So I'm an I call myself an anti-imperialist, because I feel like imperialism is the driving factor of most wars. And I say this all the time. I think Nico House said this originally, and I probably heard him and, agreed with him, but I'm going to say it as well. Like, if the United States would, you know, pull back on its if the United States will pull back on its foreign policy, on its imperialism of the world, most of the world's problems will solve it. They'll solve work themselves out, in my opinion. And just this whole concept of, you know, like, you had people there that was upset with people that, you got people like Jackson there, obviously, and others that are just pro Russia. And there's no nuance take there. They're just pro Russia. But then you have people that are looking at it from the perspective of, like me. My whole thing is with the Ukraine shit. It's like, what other choice did leave them but to do that, but to invade Ukraine? Because they were trying for years diplomatically to settle this whole thing. Leading up to them invading, they were, trying to conduct diplomatic meetings and things like that. And the United States was basically saying, yeah, fuck off. We're not negotiating. We're not what you want. Everything, like, coming to the table and negotiating with you, the United States said that was a non-starter, basically, which is go fuck yourself in diplomacy talk. So that's where somebody like me was like, what option did you leave them? Now, people like Aaron Matei was saying, like, well, maybe they could, maybe they could have, leveraged the the power with fossil fuels that they have in Europe and things like that. And maybe, but obviously now we're seeing that they're willing to cut off their nose despite their face. So how far would that have gone? Like our fucking the United States government literally blew up, committed an act of terrorism and an act of war against a supposed ally, but against a supposedly sovereign nation in Germany. So we see that that wouldn't have worked. So what option were they left with? And I think that's a concept that a lot of anti-war people don't want to tangle with. They just want to say we're anti-war. And I get the sentiment. Like I said, I'm anti-war. I'm not somebody that's, you know, craven and like a lot. Like I see a lot of people, and it's the same usual characters. I'm not gonna, like I said, I talk, I named Jackson. I'm not gonna go down the list of all these people, but the usual suspects that are just like you could tell it's all clout chase, bro. Like I've seen, bro. I'm a hip hop fan. I've lived through 6ix9ine, 50 Cent. I know a clout chase when I see it, bro. I'm a hip hop fan. I'm a rap fan. I know it when I see it, and that's what a lot of this shit is. But you know, I'm just like, what option were they left with at that point? And in a sense, this is Russia combating anti-imperialism, and I don't look at Russia as an imperialist state either. I know a lot of people like to use that term, saying Russia, is imperialist and things like that. But everywhere Russia's going, they're offering, industrialization to countries. They're offering um, mutually beneficial trade. So it's like I feel like most people don't understand the concept of what imperialism is and what it actually does and what it brings to a country. It's not just saying, oh, America bad and Russia good. That's not what most people are saying that are talking about Russia's not imperialist. What most people are saying like I just explained, like Russia's going like they're not, trying to enforce their culture on other people. They're not going and telling other people how to live at gunpoint. They're not going in destroying the ecosystems of countries like the United States is. They're not forcing austerity policies on countries. Like that's what I mean by that. And but I understand the sentiment. I don't get mad at people that will look at somebody like me and disagree with that sentiment. But I'm like, you can't thus like try to compare me to like I'm not like somebody who's like cheering on Russia bombing Ukraine or anything like that. Like that's nuts. Even though like ideologically, I probably would not agree with a lot of Ukrainians, given what we've been learning about them more recently and their love for Nazis. So yeah. By the way, guys, I know I see as more of you jumping in here. I posted the StreamYard John on here. If y'all want to hop on and talk to me, y'all could do that. I'll let me repost it again just in case y'all don't see it. If any of y'all want to hop on here, multiple people, we could get like a little panel started maybe or something. But I'm gonna post it down below again. But yeah, so it's a multifaceted thing with this Rage Against the War Machine, and now like you have all of these like you have like the Black Agenda Report people and the Black Power Media people who I like Black Power Media's work. I even like Black Agenda Report's work as well. Margaret Kimberly, I like her. A lot of the things she says. Um, uh, Code Pink formerly because I heard Medea Benjamin actually showed up, but she wasn't like there as a representative of Code Pink. Like Code Pink was not affiliated with this, so I don't get how you're the movement that you started. You're whatever, but that's how it went down. But they're doing this Answer Coalition thing, and I'm gonna try and make it to that. I think, unfortunately, I may work that weekend, but I'm gonna see what's up and move some things around. Um, but but yeah, man. So I think all in all, like seeing different, groups of people out there, like even somebody like Jill Stein, different people with different backgrounds was interesting to see. And then on top of that, seeing the mainstream media basically going at like Rachel Maddow, all people, like attacking it was like a clear sign for me. Like, all right, this is something that they don't like, but at the same, it's a complicated, nuanced issue, and people are only looking at it from one angle. And then like now, everybody at each other's throats and everything. Like, I think there was some unfair criticism from Max on Black Agenda Report, and I think there was some unfair criticism coming from Black Agenda Report towards Max, like trying to paint Max as, you know, anti-black or some shit like that, or whatever. Where it's like I wouldn't agree with that. You know, like people like Jimmy, they try to say the same thing about Jimmy Dore as well. Like I literally found Jimmy's channel because of his coverage on police brutality. That's how I discovered Jimmy Dore. And then and knowing some of it, but I didn't really watch his TYT stuff like that until after I started watching his show. But I discovered him through talking about police brutality. And and Max Blumenthal, watching a lot of Gray Zone streams, he talks about the condition of Black Americans in Detroit specifically. But also, and then a lot of my issues with a lot of people in that like circle that that are criticizing these people for being anti-trans and all that. Like now they're going at Anya Parampil, Max's wife. It's like, look, man, I work around a lot of different types of people, bro. I work around a lot of different types of people. I work in a warehouse industrial setting. A lot of people don't look. I'm just going to keep it a bean. A lot of workers, working class people, aren't there when it comes to specifically the LGBT stuff, the alphabet stuff. They're just not there. Even me, somebody like, look, I'm a person live and let live. I also like to point out the hypocrisies on how like for example, like we're supposed to be so worried about children, and that's why we need to go after trans people and gay people so they don't like propagandize kids into being gay or whatever. But some like if we're so worried about that happening to children, yet like we allow children to do other shit that literally like harms their life. Like I was just on Facebook recently, so Super Bowl time, I'm chilling waiting for the game to happen, and I see Professor Wolf, Richard Wolf, he posted this article saying that 93 something percent, um yeah, 90, it was like 95% or something like that of NFL players that leave the NFL end up with severe brain damage, severe CTE. And then like I started reading about like, so I'm like, all right, this is happening in grown ass men. I wonder what effect this is having on kids, like playing football and contact sports in school and everything. 1 in 3 kids that play contact sports in high school and college, 1 in 3 of them end up with severe brain damage, with severe CTA. So I'm like, when you look at the numbers of that, that's 1 in 3 children in America, 1 in 3 children. There's more a likelihood of your kid having fucking brain damage than there is of your kid becoming trans, and you're worried about the latter. So like hypocrisies like that, you feel me? But because it's normalized within our culture, you know, football has been so ingrained and normalized within our culture that, oh, it's okay, let kids be kids and play sports, da da da, this, that, and the third. So, but I'm not trying to go too deep into it because it's like everybody has their views on this thing. And Anya as a woman, I think she's justified in having certain perspectives when it comes to this shit. That's something I've been seeing a lot of women talking about, is that like their voices are being silenced when it comes to trans stuff. And it's like, I they're women. Like we're so now, so we went from believe all women to now, oh, we're not going to listen to those that, you feel me, that have a different perspective on the trans issue. So, and then like you could tell like on Twitter, she was like Anya woke up and chose violence because she was like, I'm not pandering to y'all anymore. And I get that. I get that sentiment wholeheartedly, bro. I wholeheartedly get that sentiment, because it's like that's sometimes where I get when talking about black issues, and there's always that, and it's sometimes it's coming like like Jackson Hinkle recently coming out speaking against reparations. It's like, we supposed to be all kumbaya talking about solidarity, but this little nigga on here speaking against issues that is important to a lot of black people in America, a lot of black Americans. So I definitely understand that mentality she was in, where she's just like, fuck it, and just going scorched earth. I'm waking up and choosing violence this morning, baby. Chris H, Jackie. I see. I've never heard of this chick until her article, bro, or this woman. I never heard of her until this article. So, but all in all, though, I think that there needs to be some form of catharsis because, like, the fact that we're having two separate rallies now is just fucking stupid, bro. Like, it's so fucking dumb to me. Like, go to the protest and air out your grievances to these people. Like, and this it's just crazy to me because I think that if a lot of them go there, like, look, man, me living in an area where it's a mixed bag of people here, bro. Like, I guarantee you, unless you're just like some like coastal liberal elite, fuckity fuck, like you're going to connect with somebody there that's from a completely different background than you, and y'all gonna have some conversations and come to some agreements on things, and that's how coalitions are formed, in my opinion. That's how you form bonds with people to build on, forming political coalitions and eventually, moving into political actions and organizing and things like that. And look, I'm not an organizer. I'm far from it. I'm not an organizer, but that just makes sense to me. Like, you know, also all points on the scoreboard being anti. Yeah, bro. Like that video. Let me find this shit. This little nigga, bro. Like, it's just goofy shit after goofy shit, bro. And I try not to, harp on it. I'm gonna be talking about it Monday. I'm gonna talk about it again Monday, more. But this shit was just like, what this it's just unnecessary. You could tell like he's playing a character. Like, it's literally a character. Almost. Well, not even almost. It's literally what it is. And it's like when you point that out, niggas make you look like you're the crazy one. It's like, bro, stop it. I'm not playing that fucking game with you, bro. A spade is a spade, bro. Yo, we're not playing that game. Shit is just weird. Hold on, I'm scrolling through my bookmarks trying to find it now. I got a lot of I'll be saving a lot of videos, bro. Cause this shit on here that intrigues me too, that I want to look at, check out later, and do some research on it. Ooh, I'm gonna play this video too, this other video, but we gonna find this Hinkle one first. Cause this shit was just like it was just unnecessary. Like, but you could tell that the atmosphere he's in, he was on like some show. It looked like he was on a show or some shit. And it was just goofy shit, bro. It's like, but you know what's crazy? I noticed a lot of people fucking they talk about, oh, there's no war but the class war, but then you'll see them engage in the culture war. Like, I let you know when I engage in a culture war, I'll let you know. Me talking about black issues isn't engaging in the culture war. It's some fucking dumbasses that say that. That's not what the culture war is. Talking about black issues is not, because most black issues would benefit Americans. Like, speaking out against police brutality is for the benefit of all fucking Americans. That's the thing I try to put forward too about black people, is that even when we're looking out for ourselves, we're looking out for other people, because the police are fucking everybody else up too. That's why it's so infuriating when you hear people like speak out against us speaking up against police brutality, when it's like, nigga, like, this is going to benefit you too. Why are you fucking acting stupid right now? And I got a lot of bookmarks here. I'm gonna find this shit though. I just saw that video with Jose. I want to get him on the show. He's a fascinating guy. Jose Vega, the guy that's been confronting all of these politicians and shit. He's a fascinating guy. I want to have him on the show. Dog, I'm trying to find this shit. Oh yeah, Yeonmi Park is making the rounds again. It's fucking annoying. Where's this shit at? Dawg, I cannot find this shit, bro. Because I got a lot of bookmarks. Let me try and search it in the search bar. Actually, let me check my tweets because I did tweet it. I tweeted about it. And then there's people on the like 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 Franco, bro. Like just the full on assault on Franco, bro, is just like crazy to me, bro. It's like this nigga is not telling it. Like people kept putting words in his mouth saying he was telling people not to go to the protest. Bro, it's crazy, bro. Like this nigga did not say that shit. I'm sitting here like, bro, this man did not. I'm literally listening to or not listening. His Twitter, so you can't listen to words. But I'm literally watching niggas read his tweet and then like completely make something out of his tweet that is not there. I'm like, did y'all niggas like fail literacy class in high school? Well, probably because we got a shitty education system. But I'm like, y'all, that's literally not what he said. Oh, like he even in his original John, he kept telling niggas to go. He said go to the protest, but his whole point was the hyper focus on this specific thing where there's constantly been protest after protest after protest for anti-war stuff and all of these big names, people like Jimmy Dore. I know I've seen Max at a couple events, so I'm not going to say Max, but and a lot of the big voices that was at this specific event where there's been multiple events, for anti-war that doesn't get any buzz. People don't talk about it on their shows. So, um, that like bringing up shit like actually bringing up things, and it had me thinking about so on one of Caleb Maupin's streams, I found interesting still now because I think it's very prudent that we keep this in mind where he talked about how the Soviet Union died um, with marvelous applause or something like that. And it's like, if we can't G check each other, bro, what the fuck are we doing? Like, if we can't check when we think it's some bullshit, then what are we really doing here? Like, because it's not like it's coming from somebody from like the Cedar camp, and that shouldn't even matter because even if Sam Cedar himself is making a salient point or criticism of something or just a point about a random topic, like I see people like sometimes from that crowd like the Emma Vigilans of the world or Vigilant, however you say her fucking name, the TYT crowd and everything, whenever they're literally shitting. So you want to start this thing called the Rage Against the War Machine, where you want to unite the right and the left and everything like that. Now, I didn't watch the video, so I may I may end up saying bullshit after this. And knowing what TYT has been doing lately, I'm probably going to regret saying this. But like Anna Kasparian going on Ben Shapiro's show, like people were like lambasting her for it, and I get it. I definitely get it because their whole flex is, everybody who goes on right wing outlets, is a right winger now. So it's like, is Anna Kasparian a right winger? I get it, but it's like to me that's like low hanging fruit, bro. Like I'm not even gonna waste my time talking about that because it's like, all right, that's good. You're having conversations, good. Now, are they having the right conversations? That I have to see for myself. But But yeah, so I cannot find this video, man. I feel like they took it down, and that's why it's not showing up. I didn't realize I've been tweeting so much, bro. Like, Lord, I've been tweeting a lot. Yeah, I can't find this joint, man. But basically, he was making like this dumbass argument against reparations that every fucking white ignorant has fucking made. Talking about like, oh, we're supposed to pay reparations, you know, to Africa to descendants of slaves when their own people sold them into slavery, and that and it's like bro, just like shut the fuck up, bro. If you're just gonna be willfully like at that point, those are the ones I call white devils. I'm just keeping it a buck with you. Like, you can be offended. If you're offended, you're probably a white devil. But the ones that aren't stupid, because there's white ignorance that are dumb. You have the ones that are dumb. Um, you have the ones that it is levels to this shit. Basically, is the point I'm making. But once you get to the point where you know or you have some idea of the history and the context and the nuance of a situation, and you're like willfully like dumbing your audience down and making points that you know are not salient, but you know your audience is going to eat it up, you are evil. You are a white devil, in my opinion, at that point. And to me, that's just like, nah, bro. Nah, I can't fuck with that. I'm mad I can't find this joint. Yeah, I'm really mad I can't find this. Because it was just like the classic book. Here, I found it. I just found it. I just found it. All right, bet. Let me share my screen. Present. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
I remember when I was younger, it's like the TV shows and the cartoons talked about, the golden.
Wait, hold up. I got to see this. World War III is trending. 50,000 people came to an anti-war rally in Munich today. Of course, everyone wants to. Yeah, that's what's been going on. My bad, y'all. When I see interesting shit, I like to bookmark it so I can watch it later. And like I said, I'm not one of these people that does that whole outrage machine stuff. Y'all know I don't do that shit, but this was just like why are you doing this? What benefit, like, if your whole thing is for unity and solidarity and MAGA communism, like I don't really, this doesn't equate to that. Like, MAGA communism is just starting to sound like regular, bullshit conservatism to me.
I remember when I was younger, it's like the TV shows and the cartoons talked about, the golden rule, treating others the way you want to be treated, good life principles, stuff like that, lessons from the Bible. And now we have all white people are bad and they owe me money based upon something I have no knowledge about. And I must have missed in that song. I didn't hear them talking about how, you know, when we brought the.
So you have no knowledge of something, but this is like peak white, ignorant, white supremacist shit. You're gonna so you admit you don't know something, but I'm gonna keep talking about something that I don't know about. Usually, like most people, most rational people, regardless of race, if they don't know something, they usually shut the fuck up and try to learn and gain a perspective. You know, look at the evidence, the context, the nuances of the situation, and then build an opinion off of that. But now I'm just going to say shit because I'm sitting on the blaze and I think they'll like what I'm going to say.
Slaves over here. There was active slave trades in Africa that we actually purchased them from, but maybe that's the next episode.
And that episode never came. And look, like I said, if I would have went out to the Rage of the War Machine, I would have talked to him, asked him about that. Like, why? Like, if we're so one of the questions I would have been like, I would have asked is, you know, we're supposed to be forming, you know, solidarity. If we're supposed to be uniting as Americans, how has it been? How is you speaking out against black issues and shitting on black issues doing that? How is that forming unity and solidarity across class lines when you're actively shitting on one group to appease another one? That ain't solidarity, bro. That's pandering. That's virtue signaling, as you guys like to say. But then, secondly, this whole notion that they continuously push, you know, everything from like that Don Lemon video when he had the one shorty on. Let me see if I can find that video. That was like that joint was buck wild, bro. Yo, my dog is on my green screen. Lay down. Lay down, girl. Lay down. Dogs are like children, I swear, man. But sorry about that. But like that whole thing with Don Lemon and the one short when he had the one lady on. Actually, you know what? The Hill had a good video about this. Let me pull that up. Reparations. So again, reparations has been something that black people consistently have been in favor of. Of course, white people, for the most part, and the rest of America hasn't. But those numbers have been changing um, as people are getting more educated. Suspicion that's really why DeSantis is banning that whole black AP study stuff. Like he's saying that it's off the precipice of, you know, the queer studies stuff, and we don't want woke ideology in our schools. But it's like, all right, well, the Japanese class has queer. Every other national, you know, whether it's the Japanese one, the French one, all these different ones, they all had the queer studies, but you didn't ban those. So my sneaking suspicion, so when it comes to restorative justice for black people, when it comes to, you know, giving black Americans what they've been owed since the founding of this country, the white ignorants don't want to talk about that. They don't want to have that conversation because one, it admits accountability. It goes against two, it flies in the face of everything they've tried to tell us America has been and stood for by them admitting the, you know, that wrong and giving financial compensation for it. And, you know, just, you know, it's a lot of other things that goes into it. But this was a great segment that was on the Hill that I thought was really fascinating because they go into it. And Pete.
CNN host Don Lemon is catching major flack online for this exchange made on air about colonial reparations. Let's watch.
Those who are asking for reparations for colonialism, and they're wondering, you know, $100 billion, $24 billion, here and there, 500 million there. Some people want to be paid back, and members of the public are wondering, why are we suffering when you are, you have all of this vast wealth? Those are legitimate concerns.
Well, I think you're right about reparations in terms of if people.
Now note, just to preface this with a little context, because she's about to say some bullshit. They literally, Britain specifically, gave reparations to slave owners. The United States did that as well. They did not give reparations to the victims of slavery. So keep that in mind as she says the bullshit that she's about to say.
People want it, though, what they need to do is you always need to go back to the beginning of a supply chain. Where was the beginning of the supply chain? That was in Africa. And when across the entire world, when slavery was taking place, which was the first nation in the world that abolished slavery? The first nation in the world to abolish it. It was started by William Wilberforce, was the British.
So they're going to go into this as well, but I'm going to put my 2 cents in first. Britain was not the first country to abolish slavery. That was Haiti. That's what their whole revolution was about. That was Haiti.
In Great Britain, they abolished slavery. 2,000 naval men died on the high seas trying to stop slavery. Why? Because the African kings were rounding up their own people. They had them on cages waiting in the beaches. No one was.
Who was incentivizing them to do that? And this is where I feel, not even feel, I know the conversation of capitalism and exploitation needs to come into place, and imperialism as well. This is imperialism from Europe. This is what that is. It's traditional divide and conquer. If you listen to any Black revolutionaries talk about, the history of Black America, even historians, basic historians across, political lines, understands that Europe's whole, their game plan to push forward colonialism and push forward imperialism in the colonial era was divide and conquer. So we're going to give some of these blacks guns in exchange for slaves, but give them the guns to go take out the other tribe that's giving us trouble and shit like basic divide and conquer, and that's what was going on. So again, it comes back to y'all, comes back to Europe. And then when you talk about the hundreds of years of austerity policies, basically, I think it goes further than austerity, just straight up. I would say akin to what the Nazis did. When you look at what King Leopold did, and we barely learn about him. 10 million Africans killed. Come on, man. So, but back to the fuckery.
Running into Africa to get them. And I think you're totally right. If reparations need to be paid, we need to go right back to the beginning of that supply chain and say who was rounding up their own people and having them handcuffed in cages. Absolutely. That's where they should start. And maybe, I don't know, the descendants of those families where they died in the high seas trying to stop the slavery, those families should receive something too, I think, at the same time.
And also another point of fact. So now she's arguing for reparations for white British sailors. The British banks were still involved in the industry of slavery. They were still conducting business with slave owners in America and other places where it wasn't abolished yet. So it's like, this is why I post on Twitter all the time, forked-tongued devils. The Native Americans was right about them. Even though the Native Americans were involved in the slave trade too, they were correct about them. Fork-tongued devils.
It's an interesting discussion, Hillary. Thank you very much.
Interesting discussion that Don Lemon's not going to get into because he's probably not informed. He probably doesn't know. Don Lemon probably doesn't give a fuck, bro. I don't get paid enough to give a fuck about these black issues. Okay, so I'm just going to end the segment here.
Appreciate it.
Well, let's get right into it. Joining us now to weigh in is Newsweek contributor and business consultant Denise Long. Denise,
and I like Denise, Miss Long as well. There's some things I disagree with her on. I definitely like, she is a closer to more to the capitalist side, but her being a black woman educated on black history she's somebody I go to and listen to. I check her tweets out every now and then, and her work as well. She says a lot of good things, so and she really killed it in this. For your research, check out German, Southwest Africa, and Anama. Yeah, definitely will, bro. Chris, you gotta hop on here with me one day, bro. I know we've been talking about doing the IG chat, so but you gotta hop on here, man. I really want to get these panels going, bro. Like I be watching a lot of YouTube channels. Like, I know Franco does the panels and everything. So there's a couple other people that I watch that do panels. I want to do that because I want to get y'all's perspectives on here. So we'll get it rocking soon, though. We'll get it rocking soon.
I know you're fired up about this subject. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So tell us what you made of this clip. I think you disagree with the guest.
Yeah, I think it was a shit show. I think it was.
I wouldn't be surprised if Robbie agrees with everything that woman said.
Colonizers and those responsible for exceptional crimes against humanity around the globe to wash their hands and place blame completely elsewhere. So my take on this is that perhaps Don ran out of time, let's hope, and or he didn't have a response to this egregious bastardization of
I would say it's the latter.
Accountability. So for me, as a 7th generation American descendant of slaves, my thought on this is really that all parties are responsible, including if we're able to locate and find the Africans who were responsible for trading their people into slavery. But we also know exactly where to find the Brits and those who can
see, and that's kind of a point of contention I have with like a lot of ADOS and FBA people, is that you see a lot of slander of Africa from them. And it's weird to me because it's like, and you get it from Africans too. Like Africans like to shit on Black Americans a lot, but then you have their governments wanting us to come back to the motherland. And it's like, well, if they're shitting on us here in America, like, how do you think they're going to treat me when I come to that country? And if I'm thinking about coming to live in that country, like I'm not going somewhere where, they shit on, based upon preconceived notions, like basically, in all honesty, conservative talking points. Like you hear a lot of like, Black immigrants, like Nigerian, like people from Africa, people from the Caribbean, they come here and shit on Black Americans, like everything about our culture and oh, look at their hip hop and all. Like they sound like conservative white people when you hear a lot of them talk. It's no surprise. A lot of them are actually conservatives. They vote Republican when they get their citizenship. If they're not, most of them aren't fucking illegal. So, and that's another thing too. Like a lot of immigrants, like somebody like I have my opinions on things are all over the place because of experiences that I have that are exclusive to me. So it's like, I could, but just continuing on that, but, like Akon recently was coming out talking about like, oh, I don't like watching rap concerts no more because they be, they be all drugged up on the stage and this, that, and the third. I'm like, nigga, have you never so you just going to focus on like Lil fucking Pump or some shit, but you're not gonna talk about fucking Kendrick Lamar giving an A-grade performance, not missing a single fucking word in his performance. Like, shut up, bro. Like shit like that, just goofy shit like that, and then you'll see them like hop onto this, like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, talk like. So there's a lot of contention between Africans and Black Americans and just the Black diaspora overall. Sometimes it just seems like Black Americans versus our own diaspora, everybody in our diaspora, and then like on top of that all these other groups, and then white supremacy piled on top of that. So but I understand why some Black Americans go down that fuck Africa rabbit hole. I started going down that rabbit hole. I'm not gonna lie. So I started reading my history. I started reading Sheikh Anta Diop and different people about African history and shit like that. But so I don't know how we bridge that gap, but so I just wanted to say like that part right there. Like when you understand imperialism, like how I just described imperialism, I'm not saying these African tribes like didn't necessarily have a choice in the matter, but who were the ones incentivizing them to do these things? You know, like propping up the worst of us in our communities, you know, to kill our own. That's what they do here in America. So, yeah.
Continue to live high off the hog from slave labor. And it's amazing to me that this woman talks about the 2,000 people who died to make right egregious 300-year history as them getting reparations, because we already know that the British spent what is equivalent to 17 trillion. Is it billion in reparations to the slave owners once the slave trade was finally abolished in 1807 in Britain. So they don't get a pass for ending what they shouldn't have been involved with in the first place. Nobody told them to go buy enslaved people.
Yeah, this argument is really interesting to me. And I talk about it a little bit in my radar today, that somehow the existence of people who sold other people into slavery cuts off the responsibility of people who actively participated and profited handsomely from a slave trade for years. If I were to buy a defective car that someone then recklessly drives into me, the law doesn't say that I'm not allowed to hold the reckless driver responsible just because there was also a defect. There's something called, you know, shared liability here, contributory negligence here. The other thing that I do feel like I really must correct is that people have been saying this a lot. England 100% was not the first country to ban slavery. Haiti was. Haiti had a slave revolt. It was not ended at the benevolence of the white overlords. Haitians rose up and freed themselves, and as a consequence has been punished harshly by the international community, which saw that as a real threat to their slavery across the world,
That was
their
a really
colonies.
bloody.
And Haiti was forced to turn around as punishment for liberating themselves, was forced to pay reparations to the French. That created a lot of the circumstances that Haiti is in today.
Incident, though.
Yes, it was.
Killed all.
So here now, this is where Robbie comes in, and
the white people on the island.
Yeah, they killed all the people who were enslaved.
Yeah, nigga, they killed the niggas that was enslaving them.
Maybe them correct on the island, which happens in war, and it's something that we celebrate in the context of the American.
Yeah, women and children. Yeah, nigga. Yeah, you know why they killed the women and children too? I'm about to show you why. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to find it. So they did it because of shit like this. I'm about to share it right now. I just wanted to find the picture. That's why. That's why they killed the women and children. Now, this is in Uganda or Congo. I'm sorry. This is in the Congo when Belgium was their white overlords. That's why. Again, they never give you fucking context. They just make these statements to pull at the heartstrings of people, like these savages killed women and children. Yeah, because the women and children were doing shit like this. So that's why. That's what happens. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everybody getting that. Yeah. So again, just the remittance of context is just it's mind-boggling, bro. It's almost baffling. Like y'all are literally just like framing this however y'all want to frame it to suit your narrative. And at that point, it's propaganda. These will be the same people that'll talk about China and Russia and all these other countries and their propaganda. It's fucking, bro.
Revolution when we through power, colonial overlords, and Haitians obviously have the right to self-determination. Do that. It was very much celebrated by enslaved people across the world, and it was an inspiration to the abolitionist movement here in the United States. And here's an important point. I want you to respond to this as well. You know, after that happened, Haiti paid to France reparations in the amount of 112 million francs to France. So, I mean, what do you make of this return to this theme that it is the people who were enslaved that have all the responsibility here in terms of paying reparations in these kinds of contexts?
So France needs to pay that money back with interest. It's absolutely ridiculous. And we know the ways France has been involved with subverting and let's go ahead and call it assassinating leaders on the African continent, and how that has
Patrice Lumumba and Thomas Sankara come to mind. Obviously, I've talked about them on the channel fairly recently. I think the last stream I talked about Patrice Lumumba.
It's also slowed, been a barrier to growth and development there. Yet there's this narrative going around that people are trying to sell, especially as reparations in America and with CARICOM increases its momentum and its public support, both among the descendants of the enslaved, as well as among regular folk who understand that when you build a nation based on slave wealth and you deprive those people of citizenship rights, wealth accumulation, and the like, you are indebted to those people to repair the harm that has been caused if we are ever going to get to a state of peace and reconciliation. And I just want to correct something that I said earlier. I said no one told them to go and purchase slaves. That's actually not true. The Catholic Church was heavily involved, the Church of England and the like, and actually issued papal bulls, letters from the Pope, edicts from the Pope saying, go forth and colonize Africans, Muslims, and Native Americans and the rest of the Western Hemisphere in order to take their lands for the glory of their version of Christ. So there's multiple elements of accountability here, top to bottom, left to right.
Yeah, look, I think, so my hang up here with the whole kind of reparation.
So so if y'all been peeping me on Twitter, that's why I've been talking about a lot on Twitter about why Black people need to get away from religion and faith, these institutional religions and faith, and raise our consciousness in the sciences and, you know, understanding reality in the world around us rather than trying to interpret reality in the world around us through, you know, one, in my view of science, you know, an irrational view of reality through an almighty being, and also to take it a step further through the lens of our former oppressors. So whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam, whether it's Judaism, whatever the fuck it is, these are all religions that, you know, are, in my opinion, are anti-Black. Like straight up, that's just what it is. So, so that little tidbit you gave about the Catholic Church is why I make that point a lot on Twitter, and I'm going to be talking about it more on the channel and everything, and hopefully getting some people on to talk about it. But yeah. So let's continue with the video. If I can get to it. There we go.
Discourse. Look, if you can demonstrate that, if you are a descendant, maybe a more direct descendant, a child, grandchild, great-grandchild, great-great-great-grandchild of slaves, and there's a specific, the enslavers, their descendants are still around and still have wealth in their estate, then I could see why maybe you're owed something from them. When you get into the realm of, like the entire society owes everyone of a certain ethnicity or some independent of their circumstances, that's when I think many people say, well, now we're just talking about a general like transfer of wealth independent.
Yeah, nigga, because y'all stole all the fucking what. I don't get how this is a hard concept for them to understand. Like, I really don't. Like, hang on, because I'm trying to pull up another video so I can show you guys. What the hell? Sorry, guys. This is stupid. Give me 1 second, guys. Trying to pull this video up so I can show you guys. Give me 1 second, guys. Technology these days. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't know I was gonna have to pull this video up. Here we go. So the point that Robbie is making right now. Uh so the point that Robbie's making right now, let's run it back just a little bit.
If you are a descendant, maybe a more direct descendant, a child, grandchild, great grandchild of slaves, and there's a specific the enslavers, their descendants are still around and still have wealth in their estate, then I could see why maybe you're owed something from them. When you get into the realm of, like the entire society owes everyone of a certain ethnicity or some independent of their circumstances, that's when I think most people or many people say, well, now we're just talking about a general like transfer of wealth independent of actual any legacy of slavery.
Well, what about the crown?
Yeah.
Since that's the topic here.
So Bree shifted it to talking about the British crown, but what I would have shifted it towards is what is the logic from this video. So this is from our TikTok. Go follow me on TikTok, American Autopsy. But peep this.
Exclusively centered on the harms of the case for reparations is not exclusively centered on the harms of slavery. 3 phases of atrocities that are relevant to making the case for reparations for Black American descendants of U.S. slavery. First phase is slavery itself, that led to many, many decades of white supremacy in the United States, decades of white supremacy that continue to the present moment. The second phase of atrocities is associated with nearly 100 years of legal segregation in the United States, accompanied by a wave upon wave of massacres, white massacres that took place north and south. And then the third phase that's relevant to our conversation is the period in the aftermath of the passage of the civil rights legislation of the 1960s, mass incarceration, the persistent police execution of unarmed Blacks, discrimination that takes place in credit, housing, and employment markets, the enormous racial wealth differential in the United States. The case for reparations.
So I like to share that video whenever people say the shit that Robbie just said, because it's not just about slavery, bro. When you look at the systematic stifling of Black Americans in, in the United States, it's way more than just slavery. So slavery is what we definitely should be talking about as well. But all those instances that, that brother was just talking about there is what we need to be speaking about as well.
I'm not going to defend the monarchy. I wasn't even defending the monarchy. You made me sound like I was defending it because you were defending what that crazy professor said. But no, the crown should end and give that wealth back to whoever. I don't care. But that's different than.
Why are you arguing, bro?
What I'm getting at. Go ahead.
Let's address that. The entire nation and the entire world, particularly the Western world, which is European, benefited from chattel slavery. And if you've mismanaged the wealth that you stole for 300 years in the case of Britain, and then 100 some odd years, 150 years, or actually 250 years, what am I saying, in the case of the United States, are we now to write that off because you have wasted the wealth? And the reality is the wealth has not been wasted. They are still very wealthy.
So that's what I find hilarious, is that she's throwing, like right there, she's throwing Robbie's libertarianism bullshit back in his face in conjunction with the case for reparations. So this is why I say across ideological lines, whether you're communist, a socialist, a social democrat, a conservative Republican, a libertarian Republican, a libertarian independent, a conservative independent, no matter what you are, what your political ideology is, if you're like apolitical, there is a common sense thread and through line of the case for reparations for Black descendants of slaves. And the subsequent actions that took place, like he described, Jim Crow, mass incarceration, things like that, even the twisting of, things they tried to give us in as a replacement to just, giving us our reparations that were owed, things like, what is it called? The education one, affirmative action, where most of the beneficiaries of affirmative action were white women, because now white women are classified as minorities. Then you have other groups that are classified as minorities. So this is something that was specifically designed for Black people that Black people aren't benefiting from. Other groups are benefiting from it. You literally have the United States government crafting policy and crafting programs for other groups to start businesses in Black communities, and pushing Black people out of their homes as they're gentrifying them. People like Robbie, probably. I would even argue people like Bree as well. So that it's a lot that has to be going into it, which is why studies are happening now. Do I trust those government sanctioned studies? No, because the government is the one not trying to cut that check. Why should I, But the fact that even these half-ass studies that they're doing are being torpedoed lets me know that that's what this whole thing is about. So the thing with DeSantis and all that, but the case for reparations, like all of all of this is all this is just surface level shit that would be in somebody like Jackson Hinkle's spear, that he can go watch and get an understanding of what's going on, a nuanced understanding. That's what I'm saying. It's willful ignorance, because you're trying to pander to a certain base, which is why he's saying that.
countries, the United States and Britain, and we know that Britain, or the England, is responsible for seeding the United States here and contributed to the enslavement here. And so it's not just the families who participated in it, because the government allowed it, codified it in a way into the Constitution. Think about the Dred Scott decision and what that led to eventually with the abolishment of slavery. So yes, the entire country is indebted to the descendants of slaves, because there are ways that we could not get justice while our enslaved ancestors were still alive. And it's not just enslavement, it's a lineage of people, specific groups of families, 40 million in the United States of America, who can tie their family back to at least the 1800s in the United States, who were under the weight and burden and terror of enslavement. But not just that, the 150 years after emancipation that led to the lynching era, Jim Crow, and deprivation of wealth. And we still experience that discrimination today. So it's a lineage-based claim, not an ethnic claim, not a racial claim. It's a specific harms that happen to a line of descendants of families currently alive in the United States.
That's most certainly the case. I'm happy to share my the papers from my great-great-grandfather who fought for his freedom in the Civil War. Thank you so much, Denise, for
Yo, and that's just the fact. So when you have people saying shit like this, and I'm gonna run the video back again. When you have people saying shit like this,
I remember when I was younger, it's like the TV shows and the cartoons talked about the golden rule, treating others the way you want to be treated, good life principles, stuff like that, lessons from the Bible. And now we have all white people are bad and they owe me money based upon something I have no knowledge about. And I must have missed in that song. I didn't hear them talking about how, when we brought the slaves over here, there was active slave trades in Africa that we actually purchased them from. But maybe that's the next episode. I remember when
you have people spreading willful ignorance like that, like I can't necessarily argue against people who look at that and say, oh, well, fuck that nigga and everything he's about. Because that shows you don't even understand the ideology you claim to represent, which is communism, Marxism. That's basic imperialism. Like I just explained it to you. So, but you're never going to see me on Fox News. You're never going to see me on you'll never see me on a lot of these independent platforms, bro. And it's not like I'm out here trying to get myself on those platforms, but I'm just saying I'm somebody who works 40 50 48 to between 40 to 50 hours a week, sometimes more. I have other side hustles that I do this show. I'm a pretty busy guy, and I have the time to understand these basic concepts. So that's where I just find it crazy that niggas is saying that. So that's goofy shit, right? It's just straight goofy shit. That's kind of been like the running theme with Hinkle though. And then it's like the selling merch and shit, like people what is the try to understand, Caleb won't like this, but it's the very same woke, blue-haired left and liberals that are at least willing to listen. See, go check out, and that's why I clipped out. I did those clips of Caleb because Caleb gets it. A lot of people take what Caleb says out of context when it comes to black issues and struggles. Like Caleb, like literally during my interview, literally said he's in favor of reparations for Black Americans. Like, there's certain things with Caleb that I disagree with, like his, usage of the term woke. When, if you look up the history of the term woke, you understand why it's being used the way that it is now. But, the big picture things, Caleb agrees with. Even somebody like Max agrees with, like Jimmy Dore. All the people they attack and call white supremacists agree with black issues. But then the black people attacking, see, my issue with a lot of the like Black Agenda Report people and the black leftist is that they want to crucify and they want to shit on those people and have their criticisms, and fine, you're welcome to have your criticism. I'm not saying nobody can't have your criticisms. But then they're perfectly okay with watching our movements get hijacked by Alphabet. They're perfectly okay with watching our movements get hijacked by immigrants. They're perfectly okay with watching Black liberation movements get hijacked by all these other groups. Our movements get partitioned to other groups, and we get left with nothing. That's why you have the foundational Black American people, the ADOS people that are extreme and against things like, trans issues and things like that and immigration, because this has been a repeated thing in Black American history where other groups come in and ride off of our energy. I have another great video here on Twitter that I had earlier. Like, the fact that somebody they call racist, like Ann Coulter, understands this and niggas can't understand this blows my fucking mind, bro. Like, I was like, we're truly in upside down land where Ann Coulter is saying this, and I'm not saying this is just a white woman saying this. Like, a lot of this is basically the mindset that I'm talking about now, and a lot of ADOS and FBA people talk about and espouse, and I agree with them on this 100%. But let me find it right here. And this is Ann Coulter. Feel how you want to feel about her, but I can't see anything she's saying here is unfactual that I'm about to play right now.
The reason people are concerned about the words they use, the reason Americans care about civil rights, the reason we are sensitive to racism is for one issue and one issue only, and that is how Black Americans were treated in this country. It is because of the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow. Those do not compare. Irish, the new groups, they always get a little bad treatment. Do not compare that to how Blacks are treated in this country. You don't get to piggyback on the Black experience in America. You do not get to do that just because you are a woman, an immigrant, gay, Hispanic. No, the rest of you can go F yourselves. No, this is for Black Americans. We seem to have forgotten them. It's not a rainbow coalition.
Like, she understands this, but the people criticizing, shitting on Jimmy Dore and all that, push back against that ideology when that's the ideology that is going to help Black Americans win. Is that ideology? That ideology is not inherently shitting on the trans movement or the gay movement, but it's saying this is our movement. Stop comparing yourself to our movement. Our movement is different than yours. And it's like, but I don't hear those people saying that. I hear those people saying we need to stand up for trans people. We need to stand up for immigrants. We need to all this other shit. So it's like, what? And the fact that white woman get it, that everybody calls racist, I'm not saying that she's not, but I'm saying she's saying this, and I'm not hearing this from other people. But y'all want to shit on Jimmy Dore and Max Blumenthal, but not the alphabet gatekeepers that y'all forming doing this this answer coalition with. Fuck, miss me with that, bro. And it's from a lot of people. Some people I respect, but that's goofiness to me, bro. That's peak goofiness, bro. Nah. So, all in all, though, I think the Rage Against the War Machine was a beneficial thing for the anti-war movement. Yeah, I see the arguments on both sides, man. So, but that's just like I said, I have my issues with it on those terms, and then again, a lot of the other, like the whole Scott Ritter issue too. So it was a lot of shit, bro. It was a lot of shit, and it wasn't like people getting to solutions and answers. It was just people throwing shit at each other. So I don't know, man. All I know is those Rage Against the War Machine was doing something right. You got the mainstream media attacking you. You got the professional managerial class coming at them from both sides. It wasn't just the left and liberals going at them. It was the conservative right as well, and some of the other libertarians going at them as well. So That's my opinion on it, man. I don't see how any rally is bad, but I do see how doing these, because this answer coalition rally, it just seems like a petty ass like response rally, and it's just fucking goofy, bro. It's like, why didn't y'all just go to this rally and have conversations with the people you disagree with, whether you walk away still disagreeing or not? Like, that's just like stupid to me. Like, I'm not going to go. Yeah, like, bro, that's fucking stupid to me. I remember when January 6th was happening, I was working in Perryville, Maryland, bro. I was about to leave on my break at my job I was working at, then to go, because I had my phone camera with me and I had my tripod, and I was going to go. I remember when that shit was going down, but my coworker at the time, he was like, bro, by the time you get there, that shit going to be over, this, that, and the third. So I was like, yeah, you're right. So I ended up not going. And my mom lives close to DC, so I was going to like spend a night there and everything. So, but you got to go to these things, man. Even like how they talk about January 6th, bro. Like, look, in no way, shape, or form am I agreeing with the demands that people were making in January 6th, but that type of energy, I just peeped the energy. And y'all, if you go watch my videos about it, like, y'all, I was kind of hyped because when I was like, why didn't y'all went into Pelosi's office, like nobody got any shit off her computer, bro. And she left her computer unlocked too. So I'm like, the fuck. But I don't know, man. Left don't know how to do shit in this country. I've been saying that on this channel. That's why I don't call myself a leftist anymore, man. So I'm trying to think. I think I'm gonna end it there because I'm not gonna really go into any stories or anything. Just wanted to give my thoughts on some of the political happenings going on. So yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, like, subscribe, and share. Emphasis on all that. If you can, I know times is hard right now, but if you can, it would be greatly appreciated. That helps support the channel via the Patreon, the Cash App, all that's down below in the description. You know, if you guys can, just show a little love. It helps keep the channel going and all that good stuff, all that fun stuff. I got to plug the channel. I don't do it often, so I've been told I need to plug that stuff more. So there you go. But guys, thank you for tuning in. Everybody that was commenting, thank you so much. Next time somebody hop in here with me, man. To those on Twitch, I'm probably gonna be you're probably gonna see me in like 30 minutes. I might do like a quick impromptu game stream real quick. So if you're on YouTube, go to my Twitch. I got that link down below as well. I'm gonna be on there playing some games. I don't know what I'm gonna play. I might be playing Miles Morales, Spider-Man. So we'll see. But you're not gonna see my face. You're just gonna hear my voice and see the gameplay. So deal with that as you may. But guys, thank you as always for tuning in. And yeah, peace. Be easy.